would like to pay my respects to Honorable MP Aparajita Saringiji and respected Secretary Rural Development and all the senior officials and and all the SSG members and my colleagues from other states who are participating. I would like to wish you all a very good evening. In fact, our SSG member, Kong Christina, very beautifully explained. I think I would not say things that actually what she has already mentioned, like, especially how actually the SRLM, especially the NRLM has provided a platform, to provide that, the support to the people, especially to the poor, to the needy. I think this is an amazing platform. I think we are creating social platforms that would provide that sensitive support to the people who are in need. So I just, I have, in fact, there is a few things I would like to share, through a few slides. In fact, what we have done during this COVID period, we try to understand, what are the deeper causes, for why the COVID situation is. In fact, we started understanding a lot of health-related issues within Meghalaya. Meghalaya, in fact, is a very, very unique state in that way. Though we have a large section of the population, in fact, is belong to matrilineal society, but we have serious gender issues. In fact, this is again a kind of a paradox. So I just wanted to put my slides essentially, for today's discussion, like how the gender issues actually we try to address, especially at the source. So so we have during this period, we have in fact I also happen to be the health secretary here. I also look after the ICDS also, as a social welfare secretary. So we actually try to bring a lot of collaboration between all these departments and try to address some of those underlying causes for gender inequality. So in fact, what we did, in fact, as a in fact, our the first thing that I would like to share, there are two important policies we brought during this period. In fact, you can look at this. One is the Meghalaya State Health Policy. The naming of this policy that what we have given is that mother policy, essentially measuring, basically our measurable outcomes in transforming health, through women's empowerment. So this is in fact, what we understood while looking at is that, like in fact, when we look at our indicators are one of the very in fact very very poor, in fact very challenging in terms of, like we like UP and Bihar, our maternal mortality is very high. So many issues. In fact, our life expectancy is very low. So we started looking at this thing, and then we understood that this is essentially, this poverty, health, and gender inequality. These are the three, things which are interconnected. So we brought out this policy essentially to address all these issues, and to bring that, expected goals that we wanted to achieve in terms of reducing maternal deaths. And, so we are also using a kind of a state capability enhancement, a kind of a, approach where, we are involving and building the leadership at different levels. In fact, the way in fact, our SSG member was mentioning, it is the districts and blocks, how actually they are taking a lot of leadership, and so that part, I think we started working. And besides that, we also, in fact, we are again a state which is not covered under the 73rd and 74th amendment of the constitutional amendments. So again, there was a kind of a woman leadership was missing in village councils. So again, we brought the state government, last year during this pandemic period. In fact, this is one of the policy when we have articulated before the cabinet. What we said was that, like, if the women actually start taking part in leadership roles, in fact, that actually will give a lot of strength even for COVID management. So again, we brought this now in Meghalaya. Only women can contest in alternate elections of every village. So basically the open competition and again women's reservation. So it's an alternate election. So this way, this again is a very kind of important policy that we brought during this period. So I just wanted to share. In fact, Aparajita ma'am actually, she was telling about social audit and all. Again, this particular policy, just one slide I want to show. So we brought a kind of a three-dimensional, that health policy. Again, here the role of self-help groups is a very, very important thing. The role of social audit is a very, very important thing. So essentially, when we talk about health, not only curative health, a lot of preventive health can be done by the self-help groups. A lot of self-help activities like kangaroo mother care, to reduce the neonatal deaths, including now proning we are talking about. A lot of preventive and enabling aspects. So this is again something that I wanted to share, and this is a model that I would like to place it before. This is again a decentralized catalytic leadership model that has been articulated in the state health policy. Is essentially at a on supply side, while we are actually activating the key cutting edge level functionaries and programs like NRLM, NHM, National Health Mission, ICDS, that they are going to play a very catalytic role. But the real leadership role would be provided by the women SHG platforms. So that is the kind of a vision that actually we are working. So the idea is that the supply side, there is a need to streamline the supply side, but there is also a very important need to create a demand side institutional mechanism that actually can be provided by this three-tier model of leader, the self-help groups. So that's again, we are working on it. So far, we have constructed about 60% of the villages only we could able to reach and connect to this particular model. So I just wanted to, because since it is a gender issue, I thought I want to show 3 slides. So recently we have done this maternal deaths analysis. So if you can see, in fact, around 60% of the mothers who died are because of anemia. So again, we need a life cycle approach here again, and a lot of important role, the self-help groups are going to play. And in fact, we started that activity. A lot of our SHGs now are taking up this kitchen gardens and dietary, habits, changing the dietary habits. So there's again a lot of behavior change management is happening there. And then this other important thing, why actually there are more maternal deaths in the state, when we understood there was no birth spacing. So we also articulated a right to birth spacing in the state health policy. Essential idea is that at least you require 1,000 days, a minimum period, as told by the UNICEF to the WHO to the even the Gates Foundation. So what we really require is that the spacing. The spacing is important. So if you look at it, 87% who died were actually having less than 2 years of spacing. So there is a mother is not able to recuperate, and the child also, there is again that is also having a spiraling effect. So I wanted to just put this. And then this is another thing for NRLM. Poverty. 92% of mothers who died in the state are below poverty line. So this is again a very important role NRLM is going to play. So that's these are the things that we are working, and this is a snapshot that what is the kind of a progress that what we made so far, how many SHGs are formed or VIVOs are formed. And then coming back to the COVID management, I would like to again here just one concept I would like to share. So we have come out with a three-pronged approach for the COVID 2.0, because here COVID 2.0 is different from COVID 1.0. So we put a lot of focus on prevention. So again here mask wearing, and double mask wearing, and so essentially containment means mask wearing. You can actually at personal level you can contain the disease, social distancing. And then we also have actually, as Christina has said, we also have given training to people how to actually they can manage treatment at a village level, at household level. Even we especially telling, again there's a lot of what we have done. We have a medical expert committee. We used to discuss with international experts and everyone, and we understood that this disease has got 2 phases, biphase signature. And then we explained that especially watch out for the day 8. Day 8 is where you might actually get an onset of symptoms, and where you might actually get a new symptoms like diarrhea and all. So these are the things actually when they have been told, but people started actually reaching out to the first step of treatment. And so in fact, there's again we are seeing this actually has introduced a month ago, but we are seeing a very good results even from the clinical data that there is a significant reduction in the deaths. So then the vaccination is a huge hesitancy problem. So we have conducted two studies first, why there is a vaccine hesitancy. It has come out very interestingly. Our median age of the women, is only 31 years. So there is again a lot of when the vaccine first started, it should not given to the pregnant women. So a lot of there is a worry about so that to remove that when we took some time, but again we are involving the self-help groups actively. And this again, vaccination is something that to counter hesitancy, like we are putting a lot of effort by again involving the SHGs and also different departments and different agencies. So this is again one strategy. Like we have a block war room strategy for COVID management. Here again, we have come out with a community COVID elimination plan where the communities would actually recognize whether there's a green village, yellow village, or red village, and they take all the appropriate measures, and also appropriate risk, assessment, and take measures to, address all those 3 points: how they can contain, how they can actually treat people, how they can actually, vaccinate. So again, this is something that we'd like to share, and this is maybe very interesting. This is what we are saying is that entire COVID is actually can be looked into, management can be looked into three boxes. One is a self-help box, another is a medical box, third one is a facilitator box. So essentially the self-help box is essentially non-pharmaceutical intervention. So a lot of emphasis is given. This is again driven by the NRLM and ICDS networks to really bring this non-pharmaceutical interventions, train them how to actually do a lot of right from awake proning to hydration and different breathing exercises, and also the need for nutritious diet. The medical box again, is a very again treated with, again there also a lot of ashas have been involved, and even from NRLM we have this community gender and health activists are also there. They also have been involved, and this is a facilitator of different organs, how actually they are going to provide the facilitating support, including the civil societies and the NGOs, and of course NRLM is playing an important role. So this is about some data about like what kind of a trainings we have given. This is again we have brought a community COVID management committees on all the villages, and so far about 5,661 village participatory COVID elimination plans are formulated, and they also have set up this community COVID care centers, and SHGs are actually are playing a very important role in running these centers. And we also have the community ambulance concept also has been brought in, so that the 108 services, because we have very interior villages. We have about though we are a small state, we have close to 6,473 villages we have. So we have so that's a very interior. So that's again a challenging. So there again, communities have been involved very actively. So this is the one concept that we brought in again this last year, because we understood that there is a need for connecting the AAAs and also these SHG networks. So community gender and health activist has been a cadre has been created, and we have been trained them, and they have been actively participating both in COVID management and also in rescuing mothers. And then this is another very interesting thing. What we found is that this bank Sakhi concept is really a big success in the state, because again 74% of our villages are unbanked villages. That means where the bank is more than 5 kilometers from the village. So this is a business. This correspondent bank Sakhis are actually playing a very important role. This is some of the snaps that we'd like to show you. And again, livelihoods during this COVID time, a lot of SHG started actually taking managing the how to sell the produce during this containment measures during the lockdown. So there's again some lot of support systems have been created. And then finally, I would like to share about this vulnerable households. This is a thing that we have really taken very seriously, and we have identified all the severely acute malnourished children, and also all the moderately acute malnourished children, and we involved the SHGs for supporting those families too. And today we have actually seen 95% recovery in the malnourished children. So this is again this is a span of a 6 months work, but that again a very profound and very meaningful work. So this I stop here. Just I thought this is about the Meghalaya, and thank you very much for the time and opportunity to share what we have been doing in Meghalaya.